Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing, actually tonight, I'm recording this at 9:32 p.m. I may upload it tomorrow, or I might upload it tonight depending on how I feel about it. But anyway, we are doing a very early 2024 Senate election prediction. Not because I'm bored with the current elections, I'm not. I'm very excited for them. But because of the fact that I literally said in my last video I would not be doing another prediction until we are a couple of weeks, if not a week, away from the actual election and make that my final prediction. Thus, I realized, why the heck not... Ooh, actually, yes. Okay, there we go. Why the heck not actually create a 2024 Senate prediction this early on? Because, let's face it, 2024 is going to be an interesting year in terms of the Senate. All of the very, very vulnerable incumbents are up in 2024, and it's a major deal. 2022 is uninteresting compared to 2024. So without further ado, let's get down to the states. If you noticed, I blotted out all these states that will not have any elections up. And as far as we know, there will not be any special races, so we are looking at all the dark gray states tonight. We will first start off by filling in all these... oh, no, crap. No. There we go. Sorry about that. We are filling out all of the... Okay, yeah, it doesn't work. Good. We are filling out all of the Democratic states. First of all, Washington, clearly very, very safe for Maria Cantwell. California is going to be Democratic no matter who the two candidates are. Dianne Feinstein is so stinking old, but she's actually filed paperwork for another term. Even if it was just for election laws or whatever that she did that. But come on, I actually think she'll run again. Chuck Grassley is running again, so like, why not run again, Feinstein? I mean, she's obsessed. She loves her job too much, so she will definitely be doing it again. Okay. Hawaii, definitely safe. I'll probably put New Mexico as safe. We are assuming this is like an R+2 national environment overall, based on what we're seeing in 2022. So I'm going to say New Mexico doesn't really shift too hard to the right. And Minnesota, we'll get back to that. Some of these are kind of hard to call right now. Of course, Maryland, Delaware, and then Connecticut and Rhode Island are all safe. Massachusetts should be safe. And, yeah. Vermont, I think Bernie Sanders will stay, and we're going to fill that in as... Well, actually, you know what? Here, let's try something here. Okay, so Bernie Boy gets his seat in Vermont, meaning that we have Democrats getting 9 safe seats. That's very, very little considering the number of seats that are up for them. We will now fill in the Republican seats. Utah is going to whoever the Republican nominee is. Mitt Romney is either going to be primaried out or he will just decide to retire. I think the latter is going to be the case. Wyoming, not Montana, interestingly. North Dakota, Nebraska, not Texas. Josh Hawley should probably win re-election by over 10%. Of course, these states, that's looking... Oh, I forgot about New York, didn't I? Wait, is there... Yeah, there's elections in New York. Okay, that leaves us with... Wow. Okay. this is insane. Look at all these states that are still unsafe as of right now. I'm going to try and make this a quick video. I won't go... Oh, wait. Nope. Sorry. We're not done. Indiana is one of them. Mike Braun, my senator, by the way, is retiring, which is sad, but also he's not, like, he's not a crazy great senator. I mean, he's just there, so, I mean, if he's going to retire and be our governor, then, like, why the heck not? He can do what he wants. He has free choice in this country. Anyway, let's start from the West Coast. Okay, we don't have any information on Nevada, but I'm going to give this very, very narrowly, and I mean very narrowly, to Republicans based off of Nebraska's recent trends. I think this really depends on if Nevada is won by Adam Laxalt in 2022 this year, because if it is, Nevada's other seat will most certainly flip come 2024 based off of the way the state is shifting to the right. If, however, Laxalt does not win, I will basically give up on saying Nevada will be red, because everybody's been saying Nevada's going to be red for like 6 years and it's never happened. So, if Cortez Masto somehow wins, despite the fact she's down in polling right now, if she somehow wins, I will just say nope and immediately flip this back to Dems. But right now, we are going to say that Republicans are slightly favored in this seat to defeat Jackie Rosen. Okay, let's see. Some of these are really hard to call, so I will save them for last. We will give Texas to Ted Cruz. He will probably be running again and will probably win re-election by over 5. Texas is becoming more and more of a swing state, but not enough of a swing state to where it's really going to matter. The only reason it was lean in 2018 was because 1, blue wave year, 2, enthusiastic, exciting Democratic candidate who has since become a terrible governor candidate. But that's beside the point. I think Ted Cruz easily wins by over 5, personally. He's not the most liked senator. Like, I think they like Cornyn better in Texas, but Cruz is probably going to win by over 5 given the national environment, assuming the national environment does in fact look like this. Arizona. I am going to go back up, and we are going to look at Arizona. Kyrsten Sinema is guaranteed to be primaried. The question is, how much by? Well, let's look at this. She's getting like 16. She can't crack 30% in any of these polls. Her party utterly hates her. So I would say, given Arizona's leftward trends and the fact Mark Kelly is looking on track to win, this state remains lean D come 2024, possibly tilt D. But it really does depend on a variety of factors. Sinema is obviously not going to last another term, and if it's a more far-left Democrat, then that might cause the race to be more competitive, as Arizona likes moderates. So if they run somebody who's too far to the left, that could be a potential hazard for them. But as of right now, I don't think primarying Sinema is going to have a real effect, even though we all know it is going to happen. We are going to go up to Montana now, which Republicans should win by, well, you know what, let's be generous and say Tester loses by less than that. John Tester is admittedly not unpopular, despite the fact he's in a red state. Like, Montana is a state that can be moderate at times on certain things, like they will elect more liberal Democrats, even though they are a Republican-leaning state. It does happen. John Tester's gotten away with it 3 times, so we know it's a thing. I think, though, come 2024, he's going to be more dead on arrival, I think, because, like Sherrod Brown, who we're going to get to in a second, he is a candidate that is consistently lucky to either be running against bad candidates or like whatever else. He's just a magic man, okay? So, but I'm gonna say based off of the national environment, assuming it's like an R+2 year, he doesn't hold on and he loses by, let's say, two to anywhere between 2 to 5 points, but not. Sorry, excuse me. But not over 5 points. We're going to look at the state of Minnesota. Minnesota, yes, this is Amy Klobuchar's seat. And actually, sorry, Klobuchar is not. If this was Tina Smith, I would say it's likely, as I was going to, but I forgot it was Klobuchar. Klobuchar does win by a solid margin. So we are going to move on. We are going to move on to the state of. Let's look at New Jersey briefly. New Jersey, Bob Menendez is hated there from what I hear. He has like 38% approval. So I see the race being semi-competitive, but not anything to where he's going to lose. I mean, he'll probably win by around 9 or so. That seems to be a reasonable margin, so I will not say anything more about that, given that this is still early, and we do not have enough, we don't really have enough to back that up necessarily. We will now look at the state of Wisconsin, which I am incredibly torn on. Dear gosh, I think, you know what, I think I'm going to barely give it to Tammy Baldwin. Tammy Baldwin is more popular than Ron Johnson by far, and despite the fact Johnson is most certainly going to win this year, Tammy Baldwin, despite the state's leftward shift, should be able to barely hold on, I will say. Even in an environment like this, she won by 10. She's a stronger incumbent than Ron Johnson, and I think she could very narrowly pull it off. So we are now going to look at Michigan. Michigan is probably going to be lean D in this national environment. Not too much to say here. People are, like Red Eagle Politics, are speculating that Michigan will be a state that will have the Republicans run John Gibbs for Senate. I've actually heard about that because people think he's going to lose in 2024 if he runs again for the House, assuming he wins this time to begin with. So they're saying that he would run against Stabenow and win. I personally disagree. Stabenow is way stronger of an incumbent. And John James even could have beaten Gary Peters, but when it comes to Stabenow, I'm sorry, she's just unbeatable. Let's face it. She won by 7 in 2018, which isn't a great performance, but I think she would win by like 4 or something come 2024. Ohio is going to be lean R. Ohio has trended too far right for Sherrod Brown to really hold on much longer. He's been lucky in a number of ways. Looking back here, he ran during a blue wave year. Looking back here, Obama was on the ballot. Looking back here, he was running against a terribly unpopular incumbent. So, what does that mean? Means he's not a juggernaut whatsoever. He's just utterly lucky. So, we can't really attribute much to the fact he's been there 18 years already, because he is probably going to go down come 2024 simply because Ohio is, while admittedly still swingy in some ways, it is still too Republican favored at this point for him to hold on that well, and he'll probably lose by 1 or 2. And that's me being generous. I'm trying to sound reasonable, so bear with me. Let's look at West Virginia very briefly. West Virginia is a state that is almost certainly going to flip. In fact, I say it flips by over 5. Joe Manchin has nosedived ever since he came up with that new bill, like the Inflation Reduction Act thing with Schumer. His constituents no longer like him. He barely won during a blue wave year against a candidate who, from what I've understood, was not a good candidate. He's just like, I'm sorry, he's not smart to run again, because especially if he's running against Jim Justice. I mean, for crying out loud, Jim Justice could make this a safe margin, and Jim Justice has actually expressed interest. So I just don't think he has much of a shot at this point at winning again, because his conservative constituents who traditionally vote Republican have kind of woken up to the fact that he's just not that moderate, and the fact that he will vote along with his own party when he really has to. So, Virginia, we will look at very, very briefly. Glenn Youngkin could run, in which case this would be a likely D race. However, otherwise it is safe D, but I will put it as likely because this polling is actually very telling that Tim Kaine actually could be in trouble should Glenn Youngkin run. So I'm going to compromise and say it is a likely D race, and that Kaine wins by under 10. Now, okay, let's look at Florida. Florida, Rick Scott is the electoral juggernaut who always manages to somehow win at some point, even no matter the national environment, he always wins. And he did it in 2018 somehow, and he's going to probably do it again, probably by a lean margin this time. He's not as well liked as Marco Rubio, which is why I don't say this is likely. But he probably wins by like 4, 4.5, or maybe 5 if we are talking an R+2 year. But again, I'm not really sure to what extent this is going to be a Republican-leaning year. That gives Republicans 14, Democrats 16, and plus Bernie boy, who gets only 1 because he's only in 1 state. Okay, it looks like we have just 2 seats left to discuss. And those are Pennsylvania and Maine. We will talk about Maine first. Maine is going to flip Democratic because Angus King will not be running again, probably by a likely margin. Republicans could run an interesting candidate, but I don't see any sign of that. I think that's probably just going to be the generic Republican. But Maine is righter-leaning these days than it used to be, so I will account for that and say that with Angus King retiring, Maine will go Democratic by around the margin it did in 2020, if not a little bit less. Pennsylvania is the final state, and this state, everybody's expecting Dave McCormick to run in. Bob Casey Jr. is adored, basically, in this state, and I see no way he loses. I could see it being lean, but I don't see him losing. I mean, look at what he managed to do. He won by 13 in 2018. 2012, he wins by like 9. And then 2006, he beats an incumbent by like, I mean, what the heck is this guy? Sure, let's admit it. These are all the same scenarios that Sherrod Brown had when he ran his previous 3 campaigns. But it doesn't matter because this guy has like outperformed every single time. Like, he somehow, Pennsylvania just loves him. What can I say? So I don't see him losing anytime soon. I think that as long as he wants to be in the Senate, he's going to be in the Senate, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Dave McCormick, probably about the best guy you can get. Maybe if you got Sean Parnell, but too bad, he screwed himself over. So with that, that is our Senate map. Republicans will get 14 of these seats. in 2024. Democrats will get 18, and Bernie will get 1 seat, although he technically counts as a Democrat, giving Democrats 19. That is my prediction. Thanks for watching. Just comment down below and stuff. Write things that you disagree about. Write really angry comments so that I can respond to them. And yep. Thank you so much for watching this thing. It means so much to me. Bye-bye.